welcome to the Tuesday edition of Talking Football, where we cover all the events from the Bundesliga and the French League. I'm joined in the studio by football analyst Yoav Borowitz and I24 News Merav Savir, who takes a look at everything happening in the press. And today we will talk of Bayern Munich, who knocks out its rival for the second week in a row. And the title race in France is getting in shape. Is Marseille backing up? All this and much more coming up right now. We begin with Borussia Dortmund, who win for the third time in a row and finally putting relegation zone somewhat behind. They have their troubles in defense. We saw that here as well. But when those combinations in offense were Gundogan and Royce and Kagawa and Aubameyang, it works, it flows.
Yes, they've been running together for a few years. They have a brilliant coach in Jurgen Klopp, and they have all this amazing talent up front. For most of the season in the Bundesliga, it didn't work. It's not that they didn't score goals. They did score goals, but they conceded so many goals because Dortmund are playing a very expansive, offensive-minded football. They open the game. So when they don't score a lot, they will lose a lot of games. But lately, they've been scoring a lot. The names you mentioned, Marco Reus, Aubameyang, Gundogan, all those guys are really, really playing well. You know, let's not forget they have as backups Ciro Immobile, Ramos, the Colombian striker. They have so much talent. So they had all those very good seasons. This season was a terrible season in Germany. But now lately they've been winning 3 games in a row, so it's pretty good for them.
And it's getting finally into shape, as you said.
But still just 3 points above relegation.
But finally they score 3 goals now, 4 goals. Last game it's getting into shape. You mentioned Jurgen Klopp. He's obviously happy with his team that is finally on a winning streak, but he also knows there's still a lot of work to be done, especially when it comes to handling pressure. Here's what he had to say following the game.
There are many moments when we are doing this very well, but you simply feel that if the game is not finally decided, the nerves are coming along. And that is just the way it is in the fight against relegation. You can't change this.
Merav, finally a winning streak for Dortmund this season, 3 wins in a row. What's the press saying about this?
The theme among the press is the whole resurrection or staying alive. Some of the headlines reading, they're keeping Klopp's resurgence on track, and going on to say that that Jurgen Klopp even had them deliberately playing on a poor pitch ahead of the game just to make sure that they get this 3rd win in the row to keep them out of relegation zone. They're 10th, so now they're to climb to 10th out of that zone. And other headlines reading the same thing is that it's their offense that is really doing this for them, and saying that Klopp was more or less forced to field the same 11 because some of his players were sick from something that's going around in Dortmund. But the one thing was obvious is that he was saved because of their attack, and it's finally coming together after such an awful season. But that's been the theme around when you look at Borussia Dortmund. It's this idea of resurrection and coming alive, even though it's maybe too late.
And that is the thing. Defense is still not working very well, but the offense is finally working. Now, let's turn to Bayern Munich. We said they may have had problems. Well, those 14 goals they scored in the last 2 matches showed us everything is okay. Their goalless draw in Ukraine means they're pretty much through in the next stage. Can they keep this form come April, come May, when things are really decided in the Champions League?
Of course they could, because I think they're the team that have the most good players in the world. I think Real Madrid from Spain, we talked before, Real Madrid has, greater players, but Bayern Munich has the most good quality players. And they won last week 8-0. This week it's 6-0. And let's say the truth, the Bundesliga became a sort of a disgrace, in terms of a competitive balance, because Bayern Munich are leading the table with 8 points more than the second team, Wolfsburg. Now listen, the amazing fact is that Wolfsburg has 10 points over the 3rd place.
18 plays between first and third.
First and third, and let's not forget 4 teams advance to the Champions League. So when the gap between the first and the third is 18 points, this is not a healthy situation, to say the least. And you expect from a country like Germany, world champions, having the great foundations, infrastructure, culture, everything you want. You expect this country to have a competitive league, and we don't get a competitive league. But one of the reasons is that Bayern Munich are so great.
So strong.
Yeah.
Yes, and of course they dominate the Bundesliga. They will win the championship again, no doubt about that. And in other results from Germany, just ahead of their Champions League clash with Atletico Madrid. Bayer Leverkusen was so close to take home 3 valuable points from Augsburg, but a stoppage time equalizer by Augsburg's goalkeeper, Marvin Hitz, meant this game ends in a 2-2 draw. Borussia Mönchengladbach only managed to get a point at bottom side Hamburg. That game ended in a 1-1 draw. And Bas Dost just doesn't sleep scoring for Wolfsburg. His 7th goal in just 4 matches gave the Wolves a 2-1 win over Hertha Berlin. Bayern Munich are first with 55 points and an explosive goal difference. Wolfsburg will probably not challenge them for the championship, but they're having an excellent season. They're second with 47. Mönchengladbach are third, but as we have mentioned, 10 points away. Schalke and Augsburg are further down, both with 35 points. Football fans throughout the world waited for 2 long months for European football to return. The Champions League and Europa League both came back with some exciting games, but also with 2 very ugly racial and violent incidents, one in Paris and one in Rome. The teams are doing what they can to fight against these kind of events, but the fans, unfortunately, have plans of their own.
The old demons of football resurfaced last week. Just ahead of the Europa League match between Rome and Feyenoord, hundreds of Feyenoord supporters who made their way from Rotterdam to the Italian capital clashed with police in the heart of Rome. 23 Dutch fans were arrested in the incident, which also left 16 police officers wounded, and the city's mayor was furious at the visitors' behavior.
It is unacceptable that they come to a city for a soccer game and then they destroy a monument that is 400 years old.
More than 500 Feyenoord supporters gathered right below the Spanish Steps and threw firecrackers at the police. Braccaccia, the famous boat-shaped fountain located in the square, was left full of bottles and cans, paper and plastics of all kinds.
I am very angry. I want to see someone who has the courage to say, it's my fault, and I would give them what they deserve, something that only an old woman is capable of. Excuse me, but I'm really very hungry. I'm angry.
Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte has contacted the Italian Prime Minister to apologize for the incident. This was not the only ugly event in European football. There was one more, this time in Paris. Suleiman S., a 33-year-old Parisian, was the victim of racist acts by supporters of Chelsea Wednesday, just ahead of the match between PSG and the London club. Fans of the Blues prevented him from getting into the subway train because of his skin color. Following the event, French and British police have identified some of the passengers in the subway train. Chelsea temporarily banned Stage 5 supporters believed to be involved in the incident. They face a lifetime ban.
After the incident, Chelsea's doing absolutely everything because zero tolerance completely. And a part of that, we have to keep feeling that our club is a great club and our club has no space for this kind of people.
Chelsea sent an invitation to Suleiman and his family for the second leg on March 11th in Stamford Bridge. A nice gesture by the club, but that doesn't mean the fans will change their attitudes. Some Chelsea fans were seen chanting racist songs when they returned to London after the match. We may have hoped these sights were gone from European football, but as we have seen, violence and racism are still there.
And Mirav, these incidents, of course, create major headlines in global media.
It was everywhere, not only in the UK and Paris, across Europe and in the United States as well. But in The Guardian, they focused more on the first time Chelsea fans came back to a game at home, saying back on home turf, Chelsea fans condemn club's Paris racism shame. And a lot of them saying that they had a burning bridges day. That's what they were calling it. A lot of them saying that it's not enough and it's going to take a long time to get past this shame. And really what these fans did was hurt the club and hurt its fans overall. You actually saw a video that went viral this week of West Ham fans making fun of them, just inviting a black man on the train with them. So a lot of other people having a little bit of fun at the expense of racism. Not sure if we should be laughing about it and condoning it, but also going on, you saw the video, the more horrific one is in Rome, destroying ancient artifacts and history, and on Eurosport and a lot of other sites. They're basically going with the facts. No one's pointing fingers. Obviously, there's the blames on them, but most sites are going with the facts, saying 22 were arrested, 8 saying drunk fans damaged it, and obviously you heard the words of the mayor, even Matteo Renzi, the prime minister, also came out talking about them and condemning these fans and really taking sports, and this is the ugliest side of fanhood.
as ugly as it can be. And we saw, for example, the England national team. They know they have a hooliganism problem. When their team plays away, some people cannot leave England. Can teams do it? Should teams do it?
Of course, I think they should. It depends on how much the police will coordinate with them, because we know for years the police coordinates with the Football Association, the FA, and they don't allow a lot of fans to travel with England. Whoever has a checkered past is not allowed to leave the country in those days. But with clubs, it's going to be more difficult because they'll be dealing with many more teams than just the national team. But of course, this small incident, I call it a small because it's something that happened just for a few seconds, but it's a huge thing when the video goes viral. The whole world sees, and it's just unbelievable, this racist behavior and them being proud of this racist behavior. And there's some interesting tangents to it, because yesterday there was a London derby between West Ham and Tottenham, and West Ham's front office said before the game, any fan who will chant any anti-Semitic songs, because Tottenham is a team identified with the Jewish community
team in England.
And usually the West Ham fans do sing some anti-Semitic things. So yesterday they said if someone will be singing or chanting something like that, they'll be banned for life. So we know the teams are very much aware of it. But it's just unbelievable that those things still happen, But comparing also to the violence that we see in other countries, just mentioning in the report the Rome incident a week ago, a game between a Dutch team, Feyenoord, with their hooligan fans coming into Rome and destroying the city, And also this team also has a lot of anti-Semitic fans because they hate Ajax Amsterdam, who's identified with the Jewish.
So maybe it's time to leave them home. I'm sorry.
Yes, for sure. And it's a time to leave them home. But if you don't leave them home and you catch them, even the Chelsea fans who wouldn't let the black man get on the train, I think those people should be in jail. I don't care for how long, a year, 2 years, 6, but they need to be in jail. Not just banned from football pitches, but be in jail for their abhorrent behavior.
I agree. And let's hope these two incidents raise all the action the teams are doing. Now let's get back to real action with the French League. Leaders Lyon were unable to win when Alexander Lacazette was out. Their prolific goal scorer returned from injury this weekend, and Lyon got back to winning ways. It wasn't Lacazette who scored, but when he's on the pitch, the other players may feel much more comfortable. Nabil Fekir was the one who found the net for the only goal of the match. Lyon win 1-0 and keep the top spot. Marseille were the leaders ahead of the winter break, but it's been all downhill since. Marcelo Bielsa's team won only twice in their 7 matches they played since the French League resumed. And for the second week in a row, they conceded a very late equalizer. Michy Batshuayi scored twice for the team from southern France, but Turkish striker Mevlut Erdinç scored in stoppage time. The game in Saint-Etienne ends in a 2-2 draw. On Saturday, Paris Saint-Germain took care of business in their home match against Toulouse. Adrien Rabiot was on target twice. Thiago Silva added one more as the champions cruised to a comfortable 3-1 win. And what does all this mean at the top? Lyon are first with 54 points, PSG are second with 52, and Marseille is now down to third with 50 points. Monaco, who beat Nice on Friday, are now fourth with 43 points and a game in hand. If they win it, the gap from the third place, which leads to the Champions League qualifiers, will be down to only 4 points. Yoav, it seems like Marseille are off the race. They've not been performing. Lyon and PSG. Can Lyon handle the pressure from the Parisian club?
It's going to be extremely difficult, but Lyon are leading by 2 points. Marseille are behind 4 points from the leader. Lyon just having a tremendous season because, if we're talking budget-wise, money, it's not even close. Paris Saint-Germain with the huge Qatari investment.
They're rich and famous, that's what I call them.
Yes, but they're a very good team. We saw it against Chelsea. They outplayed Chelsea, although the game ended in a tie. But let's go back to the French League. Lyon, Alexander Lacazette scoring 21 goals. Nabil Fekir, who scored the winning goal, scoring 9 goals. On Paris Saint-Germain, there are 2 megastars. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, 11 goals. Edinson Cavani, only 8 goals. So, obviously, for Lyon to compete for the championship till the end, they need Alexander Lacazette, their main man, in top form. If he will continue to score in the same rate, and Nabil Fekir, who has a breakout season, will continue with his great play, I think they can go all the way, but it's going to be extremely difficult because Paris Saint-Germain have so much more talent.
Yes, and the question is, can they bring their good ability from the Champions League back to the French League?
Paris Saint-Germain.
PSG.
Yeah, for sure. They also won their last game 3-1 against Toulouse. You know, they've been playing better lately, although they're suffering from some injuries, but still, you know, they've been playing. They're a balanced team.
And they've been very good. We can talk about them for ages. Unfortunately, the show is over. Yoav Borowitz, Merav Savir, thank you very much for being with us. And that's it for this show. Thank you for watching and have a beautiful day.